You do not become conscious of yourself by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. There is a pull you cannot name, a gravity that tugs at your chest before your mind even understands it. She appears, and the air thickens around you, like the sudden weight of a storm pressing on your skin. You think it is a choice, your own desire, but it is not. It is a force older than thought, a shadow that reaches from the depths of your psyche and whispers, "This is what you need," even if you do not yet know why. Her presence is like fire and frost wrapped in one, intoxicating warmth, yet it burns with a subtle poison. Every glance she gives, every word carries a current that drags you under without a sound. You do not see it, not at first. You only feel the pull the way a tide drags a lone swimmer toward rocks hidden beneath the surface. You are mesmerized, hypnotized, and caught before your mind can claim consent. You imagine yourself choosing freely, as though your heart were a sovereign ruler, but the illusion is complete. The feminine shadow, the dark, magnetic energy she carries, plays on your unhealed wounds, guiding your movements like a puppeteer pulling invisible strings. Your sense of freedom is a mirage. You walk into her orbit, thinking you decide, yet every step is anticipated by something deep inside you, a pattern older than memory. Consider the office flirtation that you dismiss as harmless, the mysterious woman who laughs and disappears before you respond. These are not accidents. These are echoes of unconscious longing, reflections of a part of yourself you have never faced. You think you are free, but the chains are invisible, threaded through your instincts, your desires, your unspoken fears. You feel alive in her presence, yet it is borrowed vitality, not your own. And here lies the seed of obsession. Small gestures, moments of attention, glimpses of mystery, they are subtle injections of dopamine into the wounded parts of your mind. A fleeting smile after a tense conversation, a delayed reply that leaves your chest hollow yet alive with anticipation. A teasing glance that feels like permission to enter her world. You do not notice it, but it lodges in you like a splinter, growing roots in your unconscious. Each interaction builds a loop, a rhythm your mind unconsciously craves. You begin to chase the fire, unaware that the fire has already chosen you. These loops are not love, they are a silent addiction, a repetition that the psyche demands. It is intimate, it is urgent, and it is irresistible. You may tell yourself you are curious, or intrigued, or even in love, but what courses through your veins is the shadow of desire, a force older than reason, calling you into the labyrinth before you can even see the walls. You are drawn to the shadow before you ever know the light. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. You step into her orbit, and the world seems to soften. Her laughter rolls over you like sunlight through glass, fragile and warm. Every word, every glance drips like honey, sweet, familiar, inviting. You think you are safe. You believe the warmth, the smiles, the gentle teasing are gifts freely given, but the honey hides the sting. Charm is a mask, carefully woven from intuition and desire, designed to draw you in before you notice the edges. You feel calm, even enchanted, yet beneath that surface, a subtle venom threads through your veins. It whispers to the wounded parts of your mind, the corners of your ego that crave recognition, attention, and fleeting intimacy. You imagine intimacy, safety, and love, yet what you receive is a carefully measured reflection of yourself, just enough to make you chase, just enough to keep you tethered. It is not love, it is the art of allure, a shadow dressed as light. You give yourself away in tiny increments, trading pieces of your dignity for the currency she holds. Attention, validation, a smile that feels like permission to exist. Each compliment she offers is conditional, each moment of warmth a test. You begin to calculate, to anticipate her moods, to align your behavior to earn her fleeting approval. Modern life mirrors this pattern in texts that go unanswered. Subtle likes on social media or a delayed message that ignites anticipation like a spark in dry tinder. You are not pursuing her, you are pursuing her reflection, the image of yourself she validates, the thrill, the fear, the hope. It is addictive. And yet, in the moment, it feels like love. You chase because it is your wound being fed, your unconscious need being stroked, and you mistake hunger for affection. Then comes the contrast you cannot ignore. The warmth that seemed infinite begins to feel hollow. You notice the absence behind the laughter, the subtle emptiness that lingers after her smile fades. You realize that comfort without presence is like a candle burning at both ends. Bright, fleeting, and ultimately consuming. True presence is quiet, consistent, and unconditional. It does not demand, it does not manipulate, it simply exists. The difference is stark, like a shadow moving across the sunlit room. One is fleeting warmth, the other is enduring light. You begin to sense the gap, the illusion of safety cracking. The charm, the laughter, the sweetness, they were never truly yours to hold. You are caught between desire and truth, between craving and clarity, and the tension is unbearable yet necessary. You are seduced by shadows before you can see the light. You cannot change anything until you accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. Your wounds are not accidents, they are magnets, silent and unyielding, pulling you toward the very patterns you vowed to avoid. The child who was ignored, criticized, or abandoned carries a shadow that moves through every adult encounter. You do not see it at first, but it shapes the gravity of your desires. She appears sharp, elusive, and compelling, and you feel drawn as if by some unseen law. It is not her alone, it is the echo of your past calling through her form. The woman who tests boundaries, disappears without explanation, or mirrors the chaos you experienced as a boy, is no coincidence. She awakens something buried, something unhealed. Modern life hides it behind the swipe of a screen, the sudden ghosting of a message, the flirtation that vanishes before it lands. You think you are choosing freely, yet your unconscious is scripting the scene, ensuring the same wound is played out in new costumes. You recognize her, not for who she is, but for what she triggers inside you. And then comes the mirage, the projection of need onto her. You see what you want, not what is. She is a canvas for your unmet longing, a reflection of safety, validation, and love you never received. Every compliment becomes proof of connection, every fleeting touch a promise of wholeness. Your mind fills in the gaps, creating an illusion of intimacy. The attentive smile, the soft glance, the rare moment of vulnerability, your psyche clings to them as evidence, ignoring the absence beneath. It is cinematic in its cruelty. You are chasing not her, but your reflection in her eyes. A man who needed care in childhood will perceive care where it barely exists, mistaking inconsistency for mystery, distance for challenge, chaos for passion. Desire is tangled with imagination, and the shadow dances between what is real and what is conjured by your own unhealed self. Patterns emerge like the tide, inevitable and merciless. One day she is close, the next she vanishes. You feel elation, longing, anger, and despair in cycles that feel endless. Sleep is restless. Thoughts loop, analyzing, rationalizing, dreaming. The highs hit like fireworks, electric, unforgettable, and the lows crash like storm waves, hollowing your chest. Each recurrence tightens the chains of obsession, conditioning your mind to expect the pattern, crave the pattern, live for the next emotional spike. In dating apps, in flirtations, in casual encounters, the loop repeats itself. You recognize the rhythm too late. Withdrawal, pursuit, anticipation, momentary reward, then emptiness. This is the architecture of the shadow, and it will not release you until you meet it. Until then, you are a moth circling the flame of your own wounds. You attract what your soul has yet to heal. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. You wake to a hollow ache that has nothing to do with the morning and everything to do with her absence. Each day you chase fragments of attention, scraps of affirmation, and fleeting moments that feel like connection. In this pursuit, you lose yourself. Boundaries dissolve like ink in water. You apologize for thoughts you never had, justify actions that violate your own standards, and sacrifice pieces of dignity you did not know were yours to lose. The man you once recognized in the mirror becomes a stranger. You are no longer an actor, but an audience of your own descent, watching yourself bend and stretch to fit a narrative someone else writes. Modern life amplifies this quietly. Notifications ping with delayed replies, social media profiles update while your heart waits, and every minor interaction becomes a trigger, a test of worthiness. You believe your value is tied to her fleeting engagement, and the more you chase, the less you find. Your self-respect crumbles, your identity fragments, and the man who knew his own mind begins to live in shadows, waiting for permission to exist. The chaos seeps into every corner. Anxiety tightens its grip, coiling in your chest like a living thing. Sleepless nights stretch into endless loops of memory and anticipation. Every glance, text, or silence triggers storms of jealousy, overanalysis, and imagined betrayal. Your mind becomes a theater of worst-case scenarios, each more vivid than the last. You find yourself scrolling endlessly, replaying conversations, questioning intentions, wondering if you are enough, or if you ever were. Social media, group chats, and fleeting encounters all become battlegrounds. The emotional highs hit like lightning, but the lows crash like tidal waves, leaving your body trembling and hollow. You oscillate between obsession and despair, caught in a rhythm you cannot escape. Each heartbeat becomes a countdown to another disappointment, another withdrawal, another collapse. And yet, in her unpredictability, a mirror is held up to your own shadow. The traits you despise, the fear, the insecurity, the neediness, exist within you as well. Her cold withdrawal reflects your unhealed abandonment wounds. Her sudden intensity mirrors your compulsive need for validation. She is not the enemy. She is a lens, a mirror of what you refuse to confront. Recognition comes slowly. The panic, the obsession, the identity fracture, it is all pointing inward. The chaos is not punishment, but illumination. The path forward is hidden in the reflection. Integrate what you fear, confront what you deny, and reclaim the pieces of yourself scattered across her games, across your own reactions, across the emotional debris you have mistaken for love. You are whole before you chase what cannot complete you. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. What you called love was never love. It was a projection, a reflection of what you lacked, a mirror of your unmet needs. The passion that felt unstoppable, the intensity that seemed fated, it was your unconscious speaking, using her as a canvas. Every glance, every tease, every moment of withdrawal tapped into the deepest parts of your psyche, awakening longing you did not know existed. You believed it was connection, but it was projection, your desire for validation, for attention, for the sense of being chosen and seen. Modern life disguises it behind romance novels, dating apps, fleeting text messages, and social media interactions. You think you are captivated by her, But in truth, you are captivated by the reflection of yourself she triggers. The veil lifts slowly, painfully, but clarity arrives. The passion was never hers to give, and the obsession was never a measure of love. The highs were fire, but the lows were empty. Every intoxicating laugh, every late-night conversation, every rare moment of intimacy illuminated the illusion. You chased the sparks, not the flame itself. When she withdrew, disappeared, or offered ambiguity, you felt the hollow ache and mistook it for loss. The intensity of the highs only deepened the depth of the emptiness that followed. It is cinematic in its cruelty. You were addicted not to her love, but to the oscillation between hope and despair, desire and denial. The pattern repeats, unnoticed in texts, in calls, in fleeting encounters, each time convincing you that what you seek is love, when it is only longing reflected back at you from the shadow of your own unmet needs. And now comes the turning point: ownership. You are responsible for the energy you feed, for the parts of yourself that allowed this loop to exist. Healing begins the moment you stop blaming her, the moment you stop chasing illusions, and the moment you confront the unconscious patterns that orchestrated the obsession. True clarity is born from responsibility, knowing your wounds, recognizing your projections, and reclaiming your power. You are the architect of your freedom, and it starts with owning your own shadow. You chase shadows until you meet your own. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. What you felt was not love. That burning intensity, that magnetic pull, the moments that left your chest racing, it was projection. You projected your unhealed wounds, your longing for validation, and your unmet needs onto her. Every smile you chased, every glance you treasured, every fleeting touch that seemed like connection was a reflection of what you wanted to see, not what existed. Modern life disguises this with romance novels, Instagram flirtations, and late-night texting, making the unconscious dance feel like destiny. You believed she was the source of your passion, but in reality, she was a mirror for the hunger you never addressed in yourself. Your obsession was never about her, it was about what she stirred in you. The veil lifts slowly, painfully, but once it does, clarity strikes. What felt like love was a shadow playing out on the stage of your mind. The highs were addictive, the lows were hollow. Every moment of connection, the brief laughter, the intimate conversation, the subtle attention, was fire against the darkness of your longing. But each withdrawal, each silence, each ambiguous gesture left emptiness that gnawed at your chest. You chased the highs, mistaking intensity for intimacy, mistaking stimulation for nourishment. It is cinematic in its cruelty. The emotional peaks feel divine, yet they are constructed, fleeting, never enough. You are left grasping for more, spinning between hope and despair. The illusion convinces you that you are in love, but reality tells a different story. The emptiness remains, the hunger persists, and the attachment was never mutual. It was unconscious, a loop orchestrated by your own unhealed psyche. Healing begins with ownership. You are responsible for the patterns you feed, for the unconscious needs that drive you into the loop. No one else created this cycle. It is yours to recognize, yours to confront. True liberation is born from awareness, acknowledging your wounds, reclaiming your energy, and choosing consciously instead of reacting unconsciously. The moment you stop blaming her, stop chasing illusions, and meet your own shadow, you reclaim your freedom. You are the architect of your own healing, the master of your own desire, the conscious author of your life. You chase shadows until you meet your own light. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. You look in the mirror and do not recognize the man staring back. The obsession, the anxiety, the endless loops of chasing attention, they have left cracks in your armor, shadows across your face. This reflection is not punishment, it is truth. Your fears, desires, and unhealed wounds stare back at you with relentless clarity. The part of yourself you buried, the need for validation, the hunger for connection, the old abandonment pain, resurfaces with every memory, every imagined conversation, every replayed text message. You feel exposed, naked in the quiet of your own psyche, and it is terrifying. Modern life only magnifies this. Notifications, social media updates, fleeting interactions, they all trigger the reflection, reminding you of patterns you cannot yet escape. Facing it is uncomfortable, almost unbearable, but it is the only path forward. To avoid the shadow is to repeat its lessons endlessly. To meet it is to reclaim the parts of yourself scattered in the storm of desire, loss, and projection. The shadow is not a curse. She is a teacher in disguise. Every withdrawal, every tease, every mystery that once consumed you is now a lesson, a mirror pointing to what is unintegrated inside. Her unpredictability reflects your unresolved attachment patterns. Her intensity mirrors your suppressed longing for recognition. Her absence illuminates your dependency on external validation. You begin to see it differently. What once tormented you now instructs you. The chaos is a guide, the pain a mentor. The loops that kept you bound are now signposts, revealing exactly where your self-awareness is lacking. Each encounter, each memory, each emotional spike is a thread connecting you to your unconscious self, offering the opportunity to finally understand, integrate, and grow. The shadow that once held you captive is now the path to your mastery. Reclaiming your sovereignty requires action. Boundaries become your armor, emotional regulation your sword. You learn to recognize triggers before they hijack your mind. You pause instead of react, reflect instead of chase. You choose presence over obsession, clarity over confusion. Every decision is intentional, every step measured, every interaction conscious. Modern life offers countless distractions to pull you back into old loops, but your awareness becomes your shield. You are no longer at the mercy of desire, you are its master. You do not give your energy to illusions. You do not sacrifice your peace for fleeting attention. You are whole, grounded, and sovereign. Each choice reinforces your power. Each reflection strengthens your self-knowledge. Each moment of awareness fortifies your freedom. You meet your shadow to reclaim your light. Nothing has a stronger influence on your future than your unconsciously accepted beliefs. You step out of the storm. The pull that once consumed your every thought, the obsession that dictated your sleep and your moods, begins to lose its grip. Relief is strange at first, almost disorienting, but unmistakably real. Detachment is not indifference, it is clarity. You understand that desire once hijacked by shadow patterns no longer controls you. The frantic chase of attention, the endless loops of anticipation and disappointment, the craving for validation, it is over. Modern life offers constant reminders, social media notifications, messages left unread, fleeting interactions, but you are no longer tethered to them. Each moment of calm reinforces your sovereignty. The liberation comes not from avoiding connection, but from seeing it with unclouded eyes, free from projection, free from unconscious loops. Peace settles like sunlight after a storm, warming every corner of your mind, illuminating where once there was only chaos. Conscious attraction becomes possible. You notice women not as mirrors for your wounds, but as full individuals, complete in their own right. You engage without the desperate need for validation, without chasing the illusion of intensity. Choices become deliberate. You recognize red flags, respect boundaries, and measure compatibility with clarity instead of compulsion. Dating apps, office interactions, or chance encounters all feel different now, each potential connection evaluated through self-awareness, not unconscious need. You choose presence over reaction, curiosity over fear, depth over superficiality. Love is no longer a drug, it is a conscious decision. You are no longer drawn into patterns that once left you hollow, but instead step forward with intention, clarity, and awareness. Integration is ongoing. Shadow work does not end, but each step leaves you stronger. Emotional storms no longer define you, they guide you. You understand triggers, honor boundaries, and cultivate resilience. Self-mastery becomes a practice, a daily act of choosing consciousness over compulsion. Every reflection in the mirror, every decision, every moment of stillness reinforces your freedom. You carry the lessons of chaos, but you live in the light of understanding. Life becomes a series of intentional choices, each one building inner peace, each one affirming your sovereignty. In this clarity, you find hope. Hope for love, for connection, for a life lived fully awake. Peace is chosen when chaos no longer rules your heart.